Hi, I'm Dan, and this is the third video that I'm going to make on this FL's event editor. And I was messing around with it a little bit more after the last video, and I found out how to enter in parameters from the current value of the internal controller, so that you don't have to sit there and guess and try to check back and forth between where you set the event editor to be and where you want your parameter to be at. So I made a few more of these event clips here, and I've got two of each, but on the plugin that I'm using it on, I'm using two different synth layers, so I have to tell each synth to do the same thing, given that I want it to actually do the same thing. But so when I'm having it play together, it sounds odd when you forget to set or to tell one of the other parameters to also move when it's you need it to. So that's why there's two. So for those of you that watched the video I made yesterday, I explained how to type in the names and right-click on the internal controller and stuff like that. But I want to go through it at a real clean method, and thus explain it in a way that because if you don't follow the steps exactly how I did it, then it won't work. And I didn't explain how to do quite everything. So this video, I intend to do that. So on the plugin, click on the wrapper, click on Browse Parameters, and they show up on the left hand of the screen. And I was thinking here, one change to the arpeggiator, static parameter, one that doesn't change over time. It just, there's a certain number of values that can be changed, and they don't. Anyway, I don't want to go into over-explaining myself too much, but so I was thinking changing the arpeggiator and the type of arpeggiation that it is accomplished would be kind of cool if I was to. I think I have it going for four measures? No, 8 measures, and then another 8 measures, and it would be kind of cool to switch it from chord gate to maybe simply maybe just like up 2 or something. So before you do anything, after you've decided what to do, that is, and on this I'm going to be doing it twice because I've got 2 layers to tell to actuate. So, and I'm just naming these clips just so that when I highlight them, I know what they are supposed to do. You can make the same. You can name the clips the same thing, and because some of them will show, like the synth one here, it shows. Whoops. Blah 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 blah. It'll see it's all shaded in, but that's its parameters, or it's outputting different parameters, and you see some that are sort of shaded, and so anyway. But you can also change those values over time. But in the case of just using it to change static parameters, you don't need to do that. Otherwise, it's actually a little bit easier just to use a regular automation clip if you're going to, change like a low-pass filter or something like that. So that's why I'm not using these for that, because it's not always, generally not necessary, but it is. Sometimes it can be pretty cool because there's actually an LFO inside of these event clips, and you can use an automation clip to dynamically change the LFO timing as the song's playing, so that your parameters from your LFO are changing also as you're playing the songs to whatever parameters that they're assigned to. So you can get pretty in depth with actually the event editor if you'd like. Sometimes it's hard to find out exactly how you would go about making a unique and a satisfying rhythmic sound to go along with your music. So you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, but sometimes it just isn't musically sound or satisfying. But anyway, I encourage people to mess with the event editor. Instead of just the automation clips. And I've worked with some other DAWs and like Sonar, and it has automation clips, and you can change the bend, but it only has 2 options, which I thought was odd. So anyway, so enough of me going on about this and that. So you've decided what to do. You got your plug-in here. Okay, make sure you actuate the parameter you want to change and what you want to change it to. So I want to go, I want to make up to, and it looks like it's hidden behind my mug. There it is, ARP type. So that's there. Just remember that. Make yourself a pattern clip, and it's for Synth Layer 1. Synth 1. I just ARP chord green. Actually, let's just name it for what it is. And there goes the oven. Okay, so there's the parameters there, changed what we want. Pattern clips called what we want the parameter change to be. Make that parameter a reality in a pattern clip. And move this out of the way. Okay. And set that pattern clip where we want it to be. I want it to change at about here. And now go to the parameter that we changed. It's currently at the value that you want. Right click, edit the event. The event editor window shows up, and you can click up here and go to edit and scroll down to controller value, and you insert the controller value, the current value of that controller, or shortcut Control I, and it gives it to you. You don't have to sit there and try to guess or move it up and down and check back to see what it might have changed to. Move the cursor to see if you can get it to move and work right. It's just Control I, insert that value right then and there. And there it is. That's how you work most of, pretty much I think, any of the parameters. That's, you just make your pattern clip, or excuse me, you change the parameter to where you want it, last thing, as the last thing that the DAW is going to recognize. Make your pattern clip, call it what it is, right click on that internal controller, edit the event, brings up the window, and then Control I to insert the current value. And that takes the guesswork out of 99% of what you're doing when you do these. Now, the other thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure if it's going to work this way with all the plugins, but with this particular plugin, I'll scroll in here. Some of the pattern clips, if you need to be bumped ahead just a bit, and these could actually all be, that long, and they would still work. I just have it there just as a standard. That way I can scroll in and just kind of see how uniform it is and read the name. Of course, I can always just mouse over it and it'll tell me on the upper left, but it's just kind of a clean way to have things. The reason that some of these event clips have to be over is because when a note starts and a parameter in the ARP change occurs at the same time, it won't work. It'll like stop working. And so you have to tell it to change the parameter but right before the note plays, so that everything works like it's supposed to. Not all of the parameter changes require that, but some of them will. And whatever plugin that you use, if it's not working right, it may just be a conflict with the plugin, trying to change something and play a note at the same time, and it bugs out. So anyway, that's why that's that way. So that's pretty much that deal. Since I made that, I'm gonna just play it here and see what it sounds like. And this is I'm opening myself up here to ridicule with my music production here. So, but it's okay. I forgot something that I was just saying. I got two synth layers going. I'm not sure that this one's supposed to be on though. No, I do have it off. Synth number 2 is supposed to be off. Okay, so I'll continue where I left off with that. I just had to remember that I may have needed to make another clip for that layer, but it appears that I do not, since it is only required on synth 1. So, or synth 1 is the only one playing. I could change that, but maybe I should. Anyway, alright, moving on. You see, there's an example of what I talked about, how the ARP stopped working and it didn't play until the next note. So you just move it over just a skosh, and it should play out the end of this note without making a change. It should. If it does anything, it might make a gap. Let's see and find out. Okay. Anyway, so there's a demonstration of what the bug part that I was talking about, and how you might have to adjust the event clips for your plugin to work properly, given a change in the parameter occurring, and a thorough explanation as the steps you take to do so. And this video is probably longer than I intended it to be, so I appreciate you watching, and hopefully at this point you have an understanding of how to use these event clips and how to program them to work for you and not be too frustrating. I suppose I'll get better about explaining how to do things. That's the whole idea about me practicing with these videos too, is to learn how to do stuff better. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your day.